Welcome everyone in today's session. I'm Sharmin from EMK Center. I hope you all are doing good and thank you for joining us today. We all are having some unrest situation, but still you people have made it in today's session, and we are really proud to have with us today some partners who are really very valuable for us, who are really very valuable for the youths. So today's session is a joint collaboration of American Center New Delhi, Nexus Hub, US Embassy, and EMK Center. So let's start the session. To start the session, I would like to call Mr. Asifuddin Ahmed, Director of EMK Center.
Thank you, Sharmin. Can you hear me, Sharmin? Hello.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and we are really excited to be able to arrange this session.
Yes, Asif, we can
Yes,
hear you.
great, thank you. So, and thank you for joining. And I think we have a really great session today in plan. So, this has been organized as a part of our month-long MSME campaign. So, June 27th is the micro, small, and medium enterprise day, and we are kind of organizing a whole range of program to help the micro, small, and medium enterprise to kind of address this crisis that they're going through. So there has been a series of webinars that we have organized, and this particular session is actually organized as a part of this. We are really excited to have a more kind of a regional collaboration, having both American Center New Delhi, Nexus Hub, and as well as US Embassy involved in this session. And we are really proud to have a very important speaker with us who has a long experience of leading through digital marketing, because this is a time when we are not being able to use kind of our usual marketing tools and usual marketing techniques. We are all actually relying heavily on digital marketing to kind of promote our product, services, or our agenda. So I think this will be specifically really important for the enterprises who are actually struggling to kind of get into the space. And I'm really looking forward to this session. Thank you, Ms. Malhotra, for joining us. And we're really excited to have you here. And I hope the participants enjoy the session today. Uh, with that, I will actually hand it over to Sharmin again. Thank you.
Thank you, Asif Bhai. So let's start the session with a brief of our partners. So the American Center New Delhi is the US Embassy's cultural center. It offers different kind of arts and cultural events with the discussions on social issues with the Indian citizens. It has a specialized reference and research facility titled iHub for comprehensive and authoritative information of the United States. And our another partner, Nexus Hub. So Nexus Hub is the innovation hub funded by the US State Department, working towards helping innovative Indian tech startups grow and commercialize. It started 2 years ago. Till now, more than 90 early stage startups have graduated from here. Collectively, the startups have raised more than 9 million USD and have signed contract with different entities like Microsoft, the Gates Foundation, Texas Instruments, and others. We will start. So moving on, we will start today's session with Miss Ruchika Malhotra. She is the founder and CEO of Replimco. So let me say a little bit about her initiative and also about her. So Replimco is a management consulting firm focused on creation and delivery in marketing intellectual property in the B2B space. Replimco specializes in marketing IP creation for organizations in technology and emerging technology. Miss Ruchika is a seasoned B2B marketing professional with over 17 years of experience in technology and consulting sector. She has marketing leadership position in brands like Concentrix, that's under IBM, Cushman and Wakefield, the Economics Intelligence Unit, and many others. She was recognized by the World Marketing Congress as the most influential marketing technology leader in 2015. So in today's session, we will mostly focus on why digital marketing strategy is very crucial in this era. What are the common myths of digital marketing, challenges for an entrepreneur while fixing the digital strategy, and the usage of social media as a key differentiator with some real life example. So Ms. Ruchika Malhotra, the platform is yours. Welcome from EMK Center and our audience.
Hey, thank you, Sharman, and glad to be joining everyone on this masterclass. And thank you, Nexus. Thank you, EMK Center, and for hosting Reply CMO for that. I will just now go on to a screen share, and I just let me know if you were able to, Sharman, if you're able to show my screen. Are you able to?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Okay, so as Sharmiz has said that the session that we are looking at today is leading through digital marketing. We have put together this session very thoughtfully for individuals and entrepreneurs, and especially the entrepreneurs in the growth stage sector, whereas an SME or an MSME, who are looking at using the various use of digital marketing and looking at increasing their business share or maybe increasing their awareness. So here is what we're gonna do this in the next 1 hour or so. So I will like to give my presentation for about 35 to 40 minutes, and then we'll be opening for this questions. And of course, Sharmin will be helping me in sorting the question and getting back to me in terms of whatever base that we can held. And then if there are certain questions that are unanswered, we are very happy to take back and get on an offline session and answer it to you. Okay, so this is what the basic construct of today's talk, or maybe today's session, would look like. We will be touching upon why using digital as a medium to market is critical, the challenges that are faced by organizations while drawing their digital strategy. We will be resetting some myths with respect to digital media or digital marketing. Checking in a next story, I'm an organization strategy first or digital strategy first. We will be then looking at a small playbook that we have put together for digital orchestration, social media marketing then as a key differentiator for your digital orchestration. So this will be the whole agenda that we'll be taking up right now. Okay, so well, if Sir Charles Darwin was alive today, the theory of evolution would look something like this. Welcome to the age of neo-Darwinism. And it's a very peculiar thing, because the evolution of the mankind, how it has taken, and it is a very stark statement when we say a neo-Darwinism. It is definitely depending upon the evolution of the people and depending upon the survival of the fittest. So this is what that we are looking into. And this picture, I just grappled with a lot of a lot of creatives. So how do I put the importance of it? But I guess that is it. I mean, that is the evolution that is taking. We are looking from humans, ancestors, that we are looking at a nomad, and now we're looking at a digital nomad. So if we talk about this age, now it actually dawned upon us approximately a decade back. We're talking about the digital era, which actually started almost a decade back. We started to look through these transfusion. Then the proliferation, or the nupital of the telecommunication and the information technology happened, and that's where this whole thing got into a juggernaut sort of a thing. Suppose the Y2K, I think the most significant behavioral shift that has happened from a 2G to a 3G to a 4G and now to a 5G, and this has actually taken up all of us into a different league altogether. So the power shift has happened, and it has happened from a creator to a consumer, and the consumer now has the power to create. There is a absolutely changed dynamics in the world that we are living right now. All of us are creators, you, me, everyone on this thing is a creator. It is no more that we've been feeded by somebody. It is that we're creating our things and we're talking about it. And then, of course, the new kid on the block, digital marketing, as we call it. And as Shaman and EMK Center, spokesperson also said, in the post-COVID world, I think digital has become internal and intrinsic to whatever you do. So setting this context, I think the next few slides, we're going to decode what it takes and what is this digital, this digital wave or this digital organization or this digital orchestration is all about. Okay, now there are two, three things that before I go into my presentation slides, I would just want to tell you guys that, we will be talking about, we've got an hour, okay, and we are talking from a more of a strategic perspective rather than going into a nitty-gritties of a lot of, because digital marketing itself or digital orchestration itself is a huge subject. So in order to encapsulate the gist of it in the time given, I have tried to do the best justice to myself in terms of putting enough framework which all of you can use, and it's kind of a broad framework that all of you can use in your basic day-to-day lives and see how we can span out. So here it is. Before coming into this session, we actually ran a small pulse survey, and this pulse survey was basically to get a little bit of a sense that what digital is all about. Now, digital for you, for me, for a Panwala or somebody would be absolutely different. But from a context setting and from saying that what digital is, from entrepreneurs or organizations who are in the growth stage, this is the rhetoric that we got. And bear with me, and this is what we heard. And the phrases that we often heard is, we should invest in digital marketing. It is the way forward. Digital marketing will increase our sales. Google AdWords is great selling proposition. My SEO ranking will mean more business opportunities for me. I should put one thought of the day each day on FB or LinkedIn. LinkedIn Sales Navigator seems to be a great tool. Facebook has a lot of followers, so let's make our company account on Facebook and let's run it. I'm a startup with a frugal budget. How can I do digital marketing? And again, and one of the pertinent questions that we often get to hear is that there are zillions of digital marketing agencies in the world. Which one to go for? I know, these might not be all the challenges that you guys face, or maybe all the questions that are coming into your mind, but primarily, these are the things, or these are the phrases that it actually encapsulates this complexity that we are into right now. Okay, so let's kind of decode it and let's get to very basics. There are a lot of people talking about a lot of things about digital marketing and stuff like that, but what exactly is digital marketing? Well, according to us, digital marketing is a misnomer. Shocked? Yes. Now, digital is actually a medium which can be used for marketing your solutions to a target's customer with a specific message over a time period in order to get a favorable response. Okay, I'm just halting here for a second. Just assimilate what I'm trying to say right now. And if you see these icons, I think it will tell you the journey of what we are trying to say. So digital is actually a medium, okay, which can be used for marketing your solutions to a specific target segment with a specific message that you want to talk about over a period of time, and in order to get a favorable response. So what we thought about that, let's talk about, this is all great. And this is something that I have been thinking about for a lot of time, that, why do we call it as a digital marketing? Why we don't call it as a billboard advertising or a billboard marketing or something like that? Because everything is a medium, right? And the day you will think about digital as a medium, your whole perspective will change. And here we are here to change your perspective and to give you a right perspective in terms of how you can digitally orchestrate your presence throughout. So, but until and unless you get off that aura of, okay, we are digital marketers, digital marketing is SEO, digital marketing is this, let's get back to the basics, okay? Let's think it as a medium. And I'm going to show a case study right now. It's kind of into a B2C sector and something that, we all could relate it to. So we thought that, let's talk about the way usually organizations would try to get to their target customers and deliver a specific message to get a favorable response that they say. So we picked up Domino's, okay? And so we kind of thought of drawing a parallel between what's a pre-COVID era and how an organization like this, who's into absolutely B2C retail, going in and, you know, kind of changing its whole strategy. And I'm not talking about the digital strategy right now, I'm whole talking about the marketing strategy. So hear me out, okay? So, okay, before the pre-COVID era, okay, before the COVID era, I would say, or the pre-COVID era, if you see, digital was always there, right? I mean, digital has been there for about a decade or something like that. But a company like, you know, Domino's, you know, which is into pizza delivery and it has its channel, never was totally dependent on digital. It was always a mix of digital and traditional media marketing. You would get pamphlets, you know, into your newspaper. You would get a direct mailer from Domino's. You will get a print ad, you know, in terms of what it is. You will also get, you know, you will also get to see a billboard when you go out and, you know, just look up and say, okay, so what are they doing? And of course, you will see digital ads on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all the mediums that we all know about, okay? So the point that I'm trying to drive here, that digital has always been there for a while, but organizations who want to reach to their customers are using other mediums as well. And that's another medium mix that you're using, because their marketing strategy is different, because their target segment is absolutely different. A Domino's pizza is eaten by a millennial, a zillennial, a generation curious, a kid, and also maybe some adults, okay? So they kind of bifurcated, or they thought about, okay, where would I get my target audience right? And where could I get the right messaging going for them? So it was always a mix of traditional and digital. And that was their marketing strategy. And they used traditional and digital mediums to go ahead and deliver what they wanted to share. So I'm just pausing a moment on this slide and just, you know, just absorb it in terms of what I'm trying to say, okay? And then, you know, we are into the ever-changing times, the new normal right now. The marketing strategy of Domino's then changed into a zero contact delivery, or the contactless. Everybody's coming with, fintech is coming with a contactless marketing application. Domino's is coming out with a contactless pizza delivery. So, you know, I'm not going into that whole COVID thing, because then it gets and spirals out into a different direction altogether. But just getting the sense back on the marketing strategy for Domino's in this era. So what they actually did was they introduced Domino's zero contact delivery, okay? And when they introduced Domino's zero contact delivery, they were seeing that, okay, people are not going out of their homes. The newspapers are not coming in. I mean, we are all scared that, okay, maybe the COVID virus is on the newspaper, so let's not get the pamphlets. The billboards, I'm not going out. You know, I can't see the billboard out there. Advertisements in the newspapers, I mean, the newspaper circulations are definitely going, but the physical circulation is definitely in. So they actually got back to the drawing board and say that, hey, now is the time, let's absolutely use digital mediums, because the target customer of ours is confined into a house, and the target customer of ours is confined into a specific realm. It is not over here everywhere, okay? So they changed their marketing strategy and they said, okay, because my target customer right now, whether it's a working professional, whether it's a kid, whether it is a millennial, whether it is a 60-year-old guy who's sitting at home retired, they're latching onto the digital medium because that's the normal. I mean, we are all talking about from a digital perspective. So why not change our strategy to a completely digital strategy? And that's why, you know, we have this FB ad and the YouTube ad and the Twitter ad. So did you see the difference? I mean, the point that I'm trying to make right now is that digital is a medium like any other medium, which can be used for marketing your solutions to a target customer with a specific message over a time period in order to get a favorable response. right? So it is the complete shift in the marketing strategy or the organizational strategy that has actually given rise to their tactical digital strategy, and then the digital marketing or the digital orchestration strategy, not vice versa, right? Compare these two slides again. Digital was always there. Digital as a medium was always there. But now it has even become more important, and it has even become more pervasive because of the conditions that we are into. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, maybe we, you never know how the whole situation spirals into and how the whole situation uh, gets better. Maybe 6 months, we will be again back to the slide of, organizations using both a mix of a digital and a traditional medium. Who knows? So I hope I am able to drive my point well, that this is, some of the myths that we want to bust right now, and, to get very clear understanding of what is all digital marketing all about. Digital strategy is derived from your organization and marketing strategy, and it is not vice versa. So if you think that you will have a digital strategy, and if you will have a digital strategy and you will derive your marketing strategy out of it, that's a wrong thing to have. So first of all, have your objectives very clear, your target audience, whom do you want to reach, have a clear marketing strategy, and the digital strategy will evolve from there. Choose digital mediums basis your objective, target audience, reach, and timing of the message. Right digital orchestration is extremely critical. Now, I will come on to this later into my presentation when we deep dive into the playbook that we have actually built for you in terms of how you can use different digital mediums at different point of time for a different set of target customers. Okay. One of the things that I often hear from a lot of my my peers or entrepreneurs that we deal with is that, okay, we kind of hired a marketing or digital marketing agency, and they said, okay, we will give you some likes, some followers and stuff like that. And they said that, okay, I mean, in 2 months time, your brand will be somewhere else. So, hey, so look, Rome was not built in a day. Let's be very realistic. Okay. If someone tells you otherwise, be very wary of the offering. And that's you need to understand that it is a long run process. It's things like likes or followers or, all these things about SEOs and SEMs that has been promised by many companies. A good digital marketing agency or a good digital agency would not promise you these things. Okay, so just be wary of the quacks. Know your core and get the experts to work for you. Okay, now we often tell that, a lot of people get into, okay, we will, let's just hire a great marketing agency or a great digital marketing agency, and then we'll leave it all to them in terms of a strategy or how do they go about it. I think as an entrepreneur or as an organization, you need to be very, very clear about what you want to get out of your digital marketing plan or get out of your digital marketing agency. It is very critical, because unless you know the what, look, there is a difference between the what and the how. How anybody can do it. I mean, an expert is there who can do the how of it. But in terms of the what of it, in terms of what you want to derive out of that, out of that campaign, or you want to do or something like that, you are the best judge. So you are the core, your product very well, your service very well. So leave it to the experts, but you actually understand what is the objective that you're trying to achieve. Use your own digital channels very judiciously. B2B and B2C dynamics are completely different. Okay. Now, when I talk about the owned digital marketing channels, it is, your own social media channels. We will come on to it in later part of the presentation. But, there has to be a judicious use towards it. B2B and B2C dynamics are very different. And, they need to be extremely taken care of in the right manner. The digital world is getting very crowded, and to find your own space, you have to be original. So these are some of the things that we see. A lot of copycat syndrome also going ahead, that, okay, now this is an agency, we are actually getting in there, and we are also going to talk about the same things that my competitor is talking about. Maybe I get the right footfall or a guide to the right network. But trust me, I mean, there is so much of overload right now on the digital channels. I mean, whether it is LinkedIn, whether it is YouTube, whether it is Facebook, you will get lost. So find your space and be original. And that originality will definitely depend upon your IP, what you want to do and what you're trying to do and how you do it. Okay, now, just the hype about the social media and how we are actually dealing with it. So one of the very critical aspect of when we had a discussion about what we should be putting in specifically in terms of the digital media or the digital marketing mediums. So we thought, okay, because of the time constraint, we can't have master classes on for like 4-5 hours. So we said, okay, let's pick up this aspect and let's dwell upon this aspect. Okay. So if you remember the first screen that I showed you in terms of those icons, the message, the medium, marketing, target audience, and the desired output. We've just put a slide wherein we've just tried to encapsulate, and I will go on to the next slide, which has the playbook written out for you, that these are the digital mediums or the social mediums, okay? The social media marketing platforms, the digital platforms, social media marketing platforms that are there from a LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or a WhatsApp perspective. So these are specific social media marketing tools that you should be using for targeting a specific set of audience with a particular message for a desired outcome. So now, if you see in in the messaging and in the desired outcome, there are a couple of boxes here where I've mentioned in terms of educational, there's a demand generation, there is thought leadership, networking, or awareness. So we'll talk about it in length in terms of how you can be using these mediums to target these sectors and with a messaging that is available. So I'm just holding on for this slide for a second for you to, though the presentation slides will definitely be, I mean, the recording will be shared with everybody, but just go through it so that if you have any questions at the end of the presentation, we can take that. Okay. So now the playbook for digital orchestration for growth stage entrepreneurs. Okay. What we have tried to do is there are 5 sets of 5 actionables that we have drawn on here, and I will go through one by one. And this is specifically put on record. For every digital platform, there is a specific target audience, and this is our recommendation whenever you think about doing social media marketing for your brand or social media marketing for your own organization. I think you should be looking at these digital platforms with respect to these target audience, with keeping these objectives in mind, the messaging and the expected outcome. So let's go here by here, okay? From LinkedIn perspective, I think if your target audience or your target customers, I would say, are primarily B2B, go in for LinkedIn. That's the great social media platform for you. And the objective for being on LinkedIn has to be networking, talent management, and brand building. And the messaging that you should be doing on a LinkedIn portal should be more professional. It has to be educational. It has to be more thought leadership driven. And the expected outcome that you can gain from this platform is awareness, traffic to your own website, demand generation. I'm not using the word lead generation, and I will come on to that. So it's more of demand generation, employee engagement and acquisition. A lot of organizations these days use LinkedIn as a platform for employee engagement and acquisition because virtually all professionals are there on LinkedIn, right? So that's a great platform to use. So LinkedIn focus definitely B2B, objective networking, talent management, brand building, messaging, very professional, educational, thought leadership, because that's how then you will groom yourself and you will showcase a better brand persona of yours to the larger audience. Okay, coming on to FB, though FB, is a much larger platform because of the ridership that it owns. But I have seen, and we have actually observed in a lot of our social media mapping techniques that it is great for organizations which are into B2C platforms. So because the reach is so much, and you can easily reach out to but it is more, people do say, okay, why can't B2B organizations or people who are in B2B can go to FB? You definitely can go to FB. No one is saying that, but you need to have a very clear strategy again into mind that how you will use this platform for your. So according to us, the objective has to be brand building, demand generation, channelizing the traffic to website, employee engagement. Yes, a lot of organizations into B2C sector who use Facebook are doing it from an employee engagement perspective. Personalized and informational messaging has to be there. And expected outcomes could be awareness, demand generation, brand building. Twitter, on that perspective, is I'd say more of a B2B. If you need to connect with your B2B target audience, this is the way you need to use Twitter. And the Twitter, it's more of somewhere, it is also used as a very personal branding tool. You've seen, because when you have a personal account on there, that's a personal view that you're opinionated about, and when you want to talk about it. So many organizations stay clear about that, because or many organizations use it for awareness generation perspective. Like I've seen a lot of events organization use Twitter for hosting or tweeting, live tweeting about their events, and that goes on, and then they increase the followerships or something like that. But in my opinion, I think Twitter is a great tool for building your personal brand, and it can be very well used if you use very crisp information, and that is very opinionated. And that's where the whole matrix will change. It will definitely lead you to awareness and brand building for your brand, and maybe your personal brand as well. Instagram. To be very frank with you, I have not been a very big fan of Instagram, because it is more of pictures, and if you have a story to tell in terms of the pictures, and if you have a brand story to narrate, it is primarily a B2C kind of platform that I actually see, wherein you can create a lot of awareness about your brand. You can use pictures and picture stories, and employee engagement, of course. Companies who are basically into BPO operations and stuff like that use a lot of these, use Instagram or Snapchats or these kind of things to engage their employees. Okay, so you can use them, but with a caution, I would say. From a B2B parlance, it seems a little bit off, but that's maybe my personal opinion about it. But that is how we kind of see Instagram. It's more of a B2C channel. From a YouTube perspective, B2B and B2C both, it's a great awareness and brand building tool, because it is the only, it is one of the things that wherein you can put your videos of products, services, testimonials in a great length, and then you can also viral it up on other social media channels. For example, say LinkedIn, or maybe say an FB. You have your YouTube channel where you're talking about a lot of videos, because these days what is happening, nobody is interested in reading a lot of content. Everybody wants to have more of audio visual treat to their eyes, because it is easy, it's more encouraging, it's more intuitive. Even the algorithms of a lot of social media channels have also been changed. So if you see, a lot of time what used to happen on LinkedIn was that if you have a great content and you are looking at an organic reach, you could get an organic reach easily. But now the algorithms have changed. Even if you are live, you're hosting a live event there, I think that's a great way of doing that. Okay, and then your organic reach is much more. So it is great to use, because you can, so YouTube, absolutely, it is one of the channels which is one of which is a very high reach right now, and you should be using it if you have videos and product, or something like in industrial marketing, you would say, people which have parts or maybe some products that they have to show in terms of working or something like that. It's a great platform to use. it definitely, leads to traffic to your website and demand generation. So, okay. Then I'm moving to digital platforms, which are basically very owned. I mean, look, social media platforms are also, you can say, your own channels, but this is something that you own yourself. The IP of your website, the IP of your WhatsApp for Business. I will talk to you why I've kept it here and not on the social media one, and your apps. So these are the IPs that you hold, okay? And so your website, I mean, that's given. Every entrepreneur, every brand, every organization has to have a website, and that's a very, very clear, well articulated, attractive, and a very, descriptive kind of a thing. All the social media info has to come in and culminate into somewhere. So that's your website portal. So your website is something, it's your identity in this digital world. Okay, so target audience, of course, for B2B, B2C, there are different formats, and website is a different 2-hour masterclass in itself. Okay, but we just kind of compress in itself. So the kind of messaging that you can go and talk about on your website is, of course, as I said, detailed, descriptive. You can showcase your product, service, authentication, which is for conversion, and the expected outcome. Your website should be sort of your POS, or point of sale. It's a lead conversion, it's a fulfillment. So here, imagine, I mean, I was not talking about I was not talking about lead generation in the social media channel. I'm talking about lead generation maybe on your website. So social media channels are great tools to generate demand for your businesses, for your products, for your services. Okay, when you kind of generate that demand and you get all that traffic onto your website, is when you start conversion and you start lead conversion and fulfillment processes. A lot of B2C companies use their websites for their fulfillment processes. Then I have kept WhatsApp for Business over here. And the reason why I have kept WhatsApp for Business over here is that that's an app that right now we all are using in our day-to-day communications. Okay, but WhatsApp for Business can be very beautifully used and very nicely and very judiciously used if you want to if you want to share some information, if you want to disseminate something that you want to talk about in a very personalized and informational manner. And it also generates demand and creates awareness. Okay, so I would not say it's a social media perspective. Yes, it is a social media platform, but I think it is more personalized and more informational that you can use on a one-on-one basis. That's why I've just kind of kept it here. Okay. Then your apps, in terms of a B2C, many organizations, like maybe your CureFit app, or you get an app on Amazon and you Flipkart or something like that. Now, these are the point of sales, the final customer acquisition. It's a very crisp, direct call to action. And the expected outcome is sales, right? So, what we have tried to do in these two tables is we've tried to put a structure to your digital orchestration in a way that how you can use, depending upon what your objective, what your target audience, what your messaging, and what your expected outcome expectation is, you can use digital platforms or from a social perspective and your own perspective to create a digital strategy for you. Okay, now I guess we are another 15-20 minutes, so I will quickly kind of wrap up this presentation with the next 3 slides, and then we go on to the questions. So what should be your social media strategy? Now, I thought about a lot in terms of that. What more could I tell you about your social media strategy? And look, every business is unique. Each objective is different. I mean, your objective versus mine objective versus a person who's sitting there. Everyone have different objectives, okay? But of course, I mean, you have to think about your social media strategy as your objective. it is not something that can be copied pasted. Okay, so your IP is very unique to you, and hence your social media strategy has to be unique to you. But social media strategy, so what we have done is we have given a structure to how you can build your social media strategy. Again, building a social media strategy is another 2-3 hours or maybe 6 hours of rigorous process of how you will sit together and structure. But in this short crisp time, maybe there are 4 aspects that you should be looking at. One is the planning, second are the budgets, third is the network, and fourth is the content. Okay, when we talk about planning, I'm going to giving some tips to you and see that how you can use it. Social media is a critical piece in your organization and digital strategy. Now, understand, we talk about the organization strategy, then we have the digital strategy, then we have the social media strategy, and it all ties back to your organization strategy. Okay, so these are the steps. So start with an objective, have the target audience, have the messaging, and have the medium in mind. So once you have got all those things in mind and your organization strategy is set, then you talk about your digital strategy. And this digital strategy again has to be divided into your social media strategy and your own channel strategy, like I spoke about in the last 2-3 slides. Create your marketing plan and then tie back with your social media strategy. A lot of organizations and a lot of people make this mistake that they start their social media strategy without taking care of what their organization strategy would be, right? So don't make that mistake. B2B and B2C have a very different treatment. So choose the mediums very carefully. Okay, so, and I'm not saying what's the right or the wrong strategy. I guess, we have seen instances wherein, what we thought was a foolish social media strategy turned out to be a great thing. But again, I mean, if you're planned, I guess the scope of error will be less and you will be able to plan it nicely. Okay, just a second. Yeah. Everyone is pouncing on digital bandwagon. So try and be unique, okay? It's not a short-term punt, but a long-drawn game. Then is the structure on the budgets. You don't need large budgets for digital, but the right strategy and partners, okay? Now, I hear and I get a lot of queries from a lot of people stating that, what should be your digital marketing budgets looking like? So, look, I'm giving you an estimate, okay? Marketing budgets are always to the tune of 10% of your organization revenue or your organization's budget. Always, I mean, here and there. So it is more so 10%, 15% you can say. So that's about how marketing budgets are for all your, So if you're talking about your marketing budget and you're talking about, so again, I mean, go back to the domino strategy. Okay, so you have a marketing budget, okay, in that funnel. Then you need to look at your own channel, you need to look at your digital channel, and then you need to look at your social media channels. And then you need to, so digital platforms are free, right? You can create a FB account, you can create a LinkedIn account, you can create a Twitter account for free. But your key investments will be into strategy, content creation, creatives, and videos, and a good website. So these are the key investments that you will take, okay? Don't go by the short-term measures like followers, likes, etc. Look at the bigger game plan. And again, I'm coming back to that thought and seeding you in that thought process of digital orchestration is you need to plan right. You need to have your right strategy on board. You need to have the right partners on board to help you gain that kind of an expertise, okay? So again, it's not, brands are not built in a day. And it takes a long drawn strategy. It takes time for you to build that brand, to have that traction of that brand, and get that brand going so that people start relating to it. All marketing agencies are good. I would have, every person who is saying that, okay, I'm having a digital marketing, he or she definitely has a great experience, okay? So, but you need to know what you wish to achieve out of them, right? If you don't know what you need to achieve, what you want to achieve out of them, then You hired the best of digital marketing agencies, it will be a failure, right? So that orchestration bit or that strategy bit has to be crystal clear in your mind. Again and again, I'm harping on it because I have seen a lot of organizations falter here. You have the greatest of minds sitting in the greatest of, culling in the greatest of content, but they are all in silos. I have held marketing positions, till about 15 years. I've been head of marketing in different organizations, MNCs, Indian-based organizations. That's the particular pain point that I have always felt, that all departments are working in silos. You need to have a very, very crystal clear strategy. If you have your strategy clear, I think you've nailed it, right? Then don't buy into the quacks. Just beware. You can generate demand. Leads will follow. Now, that's one question that I always get. And, I have very difficult time in explaining people that social media, digital media is great to generate demand for your businesses. And people who say, okay, you will get these leads, you will get 10,000 leads, you will get these many followers and stuff like that. I think we are over that game. Let's not, it's a sham. We have all evolved. It's been there for about a decade, right? We all, went into that trap once. I mean, myself being a marketer, I've been into that trap of saying, hey, because of course there are pressures. The pressures to generate business, there are pressures to generate leads. There are definitely pressures to show that ROI. You would be asking your marketing teams if you have, or maybe you would be, your investors will be asking you who have invested in these startups that, okay, what is the ROI? So everyone is these days, thinking about how can I get maximum leads? How can I generate maximum revenue? And of course, in this era right now that we are in, things are so different. Things are so unpredictable that you can't just see. So if someone tells you and someone says, okay, I'm going to take this money and I'm going to generate leads for you, just think twice, have a word, understand what are the components of digital strategy there, or what are the components that don't go with the quacks. It's a long run process. Generate demand and be truthful to what you're doing is what I would say, and the leads will automatically follow. Network. Now, very critical. Invest in creating the right network first. Whom will you market to? You need to know your target audience pretty well, right? And when you know your target audience pretty well, you need to create the network. So whether it is a network or a LinkedIn network, or whether it is a network on your Twitter or an FB or something like that, I would say 10 right people in your network is worth more than 10,000 random contacts. Right? Don't go that you have 5,000 followers or 10,000 followers. Does these follower is in your buyer persona? Do these followers or do these contacts are relevant to your business? Do you think that they will buy in some point in time? Do you think that maybe they could be good influencers for you? Think about it. Network is one of the most critical things, and I think a lot of people don't give that much of importance to the network that they should, but it is a very critical component. So think about it, okay? Content, and it is what differentiates you in the crowded digital space, is your content and presentation. Let's be very frank, okay? Again, I say that it's a digital overload right now. We are in an age of webinars, and I'm also conducting another webinar or something. But what is that you can derive, or you can add value to your listener, is the way you are presenting your content, is the way you are tweaking your messaging, is the way you are leading the conversation, right? Everyone wants to hear something good and productive. So give them what they want to hear, and give them in a nice, sophisticated way, then they will definitely listen to you, because it's an overcrowded world. If you put a thought of the day, or you put a wisdom learning or something like that, things doesn't happen that way. I mean, people are far more evolved. People are far more experienced and understanding that what it is that they want in life and what is their objective. So you be very clear with your objective, with your content. And I think, in my opinion, your biggest investment has to be on the content. Of course, the presentation is equally important, but your biggest IP, if you want to create for yourself, you know, your unique content sets you apart. It's to try to get a unique ideation on board for yourself. Me too won't take you far. So, you know, you might see, okay, let me just see what my competition is doing, what are the other people doing, and let me just ape it. But it's not going to take you any far. So you kind of, you know, think about what differentiates you. Think about trying to get that unique ideation on board is what will actually lead you in the right way from a digital marketing perspective or a social media marketing perspective. Because at the end of the day, your social media will be culminating into your digital media, into your strategy, and driving that traffic onto your website for people to see what your product or services are. So if you're presenting your case very well, then I guess half of the battle is won there. You know, your demand will definitely be created because the need is there. So again, I would just say that think about your whole network and think about your strategy first and have the basics right. I think in this era, what we are not understanding and what I see a lot of organizations and individuals grapple it, that we are talking about a lot of jargons, okay? We have to come back to the basics and see, you know, that basics that we were taught, that what's objective, target audience, and just think about it. It might sound very counterintuitive, okay, in the era of that very things are flashy or something like that, but trust me, it all gets back to basic. And I guess that's my final slide. And I will be now opening, you know, I will be handing over to Sherman now